This is the most dangerous experiment Tony has ever conducted. I saw him carefully manipulating the robotic arm, put the cosmic gem in front of him into the Infinity Gauntlet. However, the next second, Tony hated to tear up his big cunt immediately. And the reason why the Avengers made this Infinity Gauntlet go back 5 years. It started when Thanos invaded Wakanda. Although Thor severely injured Thanos in that battle, but did not aim at the head, in the end, he was still beaten out by Thanos' snap. Then half of the lives in the universe turned to ashes. Whether it's Captain America and the others on Earth, or Tony and others on Titan, facing the disappearance of close friends can only watch helplessly. In the end, only him and Nebula survived. So the two immediately took the spaceship. They have to return to Earth before supplies run out. Along the way, Tony made many modifications to the spacecraft. The purpose is to be able to fly a few more light years. But despite this, the spacecraft eventually stopped 5,000 light years from Earth. After being trapped for more than 20 days, food and water sources have long been scarce, and Tony was starved and emaciated. So tonight he went to the cockpit alone and turned on the recording function of the helmet. He wants to leave a will to Pepper in the last moment of his life, then quietly lie down on the seat, waiting for the arrival of death. However, at this moment, a bright light woke up Tony, and the attacker was the most powerful force in the Marvel Universe, Captain Marvel. At this time, Captain America on Earth also felt a surge of energy. When they ran out to see what was going on, I realized it was Carol who brought the spaceship back with her bare hands, and Tony who came down from the spaceship. The first sentence after seeing Captain America is, "Lost again," because Spider-Man was brought into the Avengers by himself. But when Tony watched helplessly, he turned to ashes in front of him. I think this is the moment when Tony finally regretted. After returning, Tony became extremely irritable. Even at the exchange meeting of the Avengers, he questioned Captain America why target him. If Captain America had not stopped his proposal at the beginning, use the Iron Man armor to fully arm the Earth, resist invasion, they won't be defeated so thoroughly. And now the situation. It can be said that it is an artist created by Captain America. In the conversation, Tony was also excited to remove the arc reactor on his chest, hand it to Captain America, then collapsed on the ground due to lack of strength. Seeing the Avengers on the verge of disintegration, Carol is ready to kill Thanos alone. But the problem is, they don't know where Thanos is at this time. Fortunately, at this time, Rocket Raccoon discovered 5,000 light years away, an unknown planet. There was an energy fluctuation from the gems. No need to think, it must be the eggplant. At this point, everyone immediately regained their morale. They unanimously decided to go kill Thanos. Use the power of gems. Bring back all the lost lives. At this time, Thor, who was lying next to him, finally stood up. However, he originally wanted to show off his style in front of Carol, but the one who got back was a disdainful smile. Then everyone took the spaceship. After completing several hours of space jumps, finally arrived at the planet where Thanos was, and Carol took the lead to investigate. Found that at this time there was no army on the planet, only Thanos enjoying pastoral life alone. He dragged his injured body to survive. Even the armor looked so shabby. At this time, Carol suddenly broke in, locked Thanos' neck, while Banner and Rhodey crawled out of the ground, grabbed his arms, then Thor broke in from behind, cut off one of Thanos' arms, but when Rocket opened his glove, I found that all the gems of the universe had disappeared. It turned out that the energy fluctuations they saw earlier, it was Thanos who used the power of the gems to destroy the gems. Banner was furious when he heard this and pushed Thanos down. And Thor was even more furious, chopped off the eggplant's head. Although Marvel's biggest boss has been removed, but everyone fell into endless grief because the gems are destroyed. It also means that the disappeared humans will never be able to come back. I thought the big picture was set. However, today, 5 years later, in a dilapidated warehouse, a forging rat, accidentally turned on quantum teleportation, released Scott Lang trapped inside. He immediately sought help from the security guard. But when he came to the street, the garbage all over the floor and the missing person notices everywhere made Scott unbelievable. However, when he came to the nearest square, the thousands of tombstones of the dead refreshed his cognition. When Scott got closer, he realized his name is also engraved on it. So he immediately ran to the Avengers base. And Ant-Man Captain America was stunned when he saw outside the door. Then he told everyone about his experience. In fact, 5 years ago, he was accidentally trapped in the quantum realm. But when he came out, I realized that the flow of time in the two spaces is completely different. 5 years of time in reality. It's just 5 hours in the quantum realm. That is to say, as long as they can at a specific time point, enter the quantum realm, then come back from a specific point in time. So you can really achieve theoretical time travel. As long as they take back all the gems before Thanos, you can save tens of millions of innocent lives that have disappeared. Without further ado, they immediately drove to find Tony in seclusion. But before Scott could come up with his idea, he was ruthlessly interrupted by Tony, because Tony had calculated this method long ago, and the possibility of going through the quantum realm is only 1/100,000th. Less than a blind cat encountering a dead mouse. As a father, he can no longer take risks. Seeing Tony so determined, Captain America could only leave the experimental data disappointed. Then they found Dr. Jane Foster. In the past 5 years, he has been perfecting himself, finally under the irradiation of gamma rays. Banner successfully integrated strength and wisdom. Get this perfect composite. Although Banner really wanted to save the missing humans. But time travel is indeed not his specialty. However, encouraged by Black Widow, Banner still decided to try his best. On the other hand, after getting Scott's quantum data, Rhodey became restless. And when he saw the photo of him and Spider-Man afterwards, the self-blame in my heart could not be relieved. So he decided, let Friday use women's data for spatial extrapolation. As a result, unexpectedly, successfully completed the entire operation. That is to say, Ant-Man's time-space hijacking theory is completely feasible. Tony then immediately found Pepper and said he found a way to save everyone. The next day, Banner built a space-time travel device, but their experiments don't seem to be going well. When Ant-Man passes through the quantum tunnel, he will become a child, then become an old man, finally even turn into a newborn baby. Fortunately, Black Widow closed everything in time. This allowed Scott to escape by luck. However, just as Captain America went out for a breath of fresh air, Tony drove into the Avengers base in a luxury car. Seeing the worried Captain America, he still didn't rush to the left. Tony made the space GPS overnight, and his coming here is to reconcile with Captain America. And he also brought a gift. That is Captain America's shield that was broken by Black Panther. Not only did Tony fix it for him, also permanently gave it to Captain America. Now everything is fine. Then gather other Avengers. Then go back to the past to retrieve the remaining cosmic gems. As we all know, in Avengers 3, Thanos defeated Thor and blew up the Asgardian spacecraft, resulting in the Asgardians lying dead everywhere. Only Thor narrowly escaped. But have you ever thought, why in the final battle of Avengers for Endgame, will Asgardian soldiers like Valkyria participate again? Just now Tony successfully created a time machine, so everyone took action immediately. Recruit other members of the Avengers, while Rocket Raccoon and Banner go to New Asgard to find Thor. But Thor has now completely deteriorated into a drunkard, either drinking or playing games all day long. The filthy words sounded particularly harmonious. Even the perfect figure has become a pile of fat. Banner said, they have found a way to bring everyone back. But Thor was indifferent and didn't want to join. However, when his beer was finished. On the other hand, Black Widow found Hawkeye alone. Because since Thanos snapped that inhumane snap, leading to the disappearance of half of the world's population. However, it is this 50% probability. But let Hawkeye's whole family suffer. Losing his family, Hawkeye, has been traveling around the world for the past 5 years. The purpose is to eliminate those who should have died. He has long lost hope for life. However, when Black Widow found him and said there is now a chance to save his family, Hawkeye rekindled hope. Then the Avengers met at the base, but there's form. It's like coming to a graduation party, and Rhodey raised doubts in his mind. Since Tony can make the time machine, why can't you find baby Thanos, then kill it? But Banner said this is too cruel. Moreover, this bureau will only create a new timeline, and can't change any of their endings. So the most important thing now is to find all the gems. Then resurrection, after the fire. Send the stones back to their respective time points. Then Hawkeye wore the time travel gear. After Banner activated the switch, he did travel through the wormhole back to 5 years ago. At this time, Thanos had not snapped yet. However, before Hawkeye could take a look at his wife, he was sent back by the teleporter. Obviously, the experiment was successful. Then everyone ate while introducing teammates about their gems, finally summarized by Black Widow. They soon divided the Avengers into 3 teams. Go back to the past to retrieve all the cosmic gems. However, the Pym particles they have can only go back and forth once. So this task, they either succeed or die trying. Then the captain gave an order. They all rushed into the quantum realm wearing helmets. They acted separately. Each team of 4 went to the Battle of New York in 2012. Here, they not only saw the original members of the Avengers, there is even the most powerful, the most ferocious Hulk. Banner was embarrassed at this time. So in order to find the feeling, he also pretended to casually knock twice, then jumped to the New York Sanctum. At this time, the Ancient One had not been killed by the script yet. He quietly cleaned up the Chitauri soldiers, knowing that Banner was looking for Doctor Strange. The Ancient One said you came 5 years early. At this time, Steven was performing surgery at a hospital 20 blocks away. However, just as Banner was about to rush to grab the Time Stone, but was beaten out of the soul by the Ancient One, Banner looked puzzled. But in order to save all mankind, even in a spiritual state, he still kept persuading the Ancient One. But the Ancient One said, if he lends the Time Stone to Banner, then their timeline will happen, spatial chaos. That's creating a whole new dark timeline. But Banner doesn't think so. He said as long as after using the gem, timely return the gem to the correct timeline. So everything is as if it never happened. But even so, Wudang still disagrees to hand over the Time Stone, because this is his primary responsibility as the Supreme Sorcerer. However, when Banner said, and why the hell did change given away? The Ancient One couldn't believe it. Steven is their best Supreme Sorcerer. It seems he must have discovered something in the future. Tell me, the Ancient One sent Banner back to his body, then took the initiative to hand over the Time Stone. On the other hand, Tony sneaked into Stark Tower, ready to take the Mind Stone here. Tony sneaked into Stark Tower. At this time, the Battle of New York was nearing its end. Loki was successfully captured by the Avengers. However, just as Hulk was about to take the elevator to leave together, what do? You think maximum occupancy has been reaching? Yes. Stop. This is Tony turning around. Completed a gorgeous transformation in the air. He found the Hydra mole who took the scepter through thermal energy monitoring. And Captain America intercepted halfway. I thought it was going to be the elevator battling Captain America 2 again. But Captain America broke the general with one sentence. This Captain America successfully took the scepter. On the other hand, under Tony's guidance, Ant-Man successfully drilled into Iron Man's reactor. Then he pulled out the shock. Iron Man suddenly couldn't breathe. In the chaos, Ant-Man kicked the Tesseract to Tony. But just as he was about to go home, but was knocked out by Hulk, who suddenly appeared, the Tesseract rolled to Loki's feet. It was because of this he was taken to advanced spacetime. full of gems of the universe. Although Captain America successfully got the Mind Stone, but because the Space Stone was stolen, their plan ultimately ended in failure. However, just as Scott was furious, Tony thought of a win-win way. That is to go to New Jersey in 1970. Not only is the Tesseract there are even infinite Pym particles, so they don't have to worry about not being able to return to the future. So, Captain America let Scott take the scepter and leave first, while he and Tony adjusted the time, arrived at the birthplace of S.H.I.E.L.D. They act separately. Tony is responsible for sneaking into the research room. Then he used the armored gloves to open the safe, and the Tesseract was indeed hidden here. However, just as he was about to pack up and leave, he happened to run into his father, Howard Stark. In the conversation, Tony said he was from MIT, come to visit. But when Howard wanted to shake hands with him, I should be done for it, yes. This kind of fear of his father, it's probably engraved in everyone's bones since childhood. Fortunately, Howard did not recognize Tony, just feel that he is a little familiar. On the other hand, Captain America used the phone to get Professor Pym away, then broke into the lab and successfully retrieved the Pym particles. Before leaving, he also looked through the window, saw his beloved Agent Carter. It was from this moment that Captain America began to think about going home to retire. Meanwhile, Guardians of the Galaxy Star-Lord made a bright entrance. Seeing his intoxicated expression, Rhodey finally couldn't stand it. I'm on me. So the next second, Nebula took the key from him, then opened the door and successfully retrieved the Power Stone. But just as the two were about to return to the future, Nebula's system was hacked. It turned out that Thanos in this timeline had discovered them. He caught Nebula and let the past Nebula sneak into the Avengers. Meanwhile, Hawkeye and Black Widow also arrived at Vormir. However, the rules remain the same. You have to sacrifice your most important person in order to exchange lives and get the Soul Stone. But they seem to already have the answer in their hearts. Black Widow flipped over and used the shocker to settle Hawkeye, then ran towards the cliff without looking back. Fortunately, Hawkeye reacted quickly, knocked down Black Widow with an explosive arrow, then jumped off the cliff, but did not expect to still be caught by Black Widow. He hooked Hawkeye with a grappling hook, then kicked off with both feet and fell straight down. Thus the goddess of a generation fell. At this time the sky darkened and Hawkeye woke up from the river. The Soul Stone has been successfully obtained. Meanwhile, Thor and Rocket also successfully arrived at Asgard. They are going to extract the Reality Stone from the Ether. But at this time Thor got drunk again. He originally wanted to go to the wine cellar to enjoy. Who knew he saw his mother just passing by? Thor only realized then. Today is the day his mother was killed by Malekith. He was going to tell his mother what was about to happen. But before he could open his mouth, he was stopped. Mother said everyone has their own fate. No need to do too much intervention. At this time, Rocket also successfully retrieved the Ether. After the final farewell, Thor reached out the window. Now the 6 stones have all been collected. Everyone passed through the quantum realm and returned to the future at the same time. Then the next step is to create an infinite gauntlet. Bring back the disappeared humans. In order to rescue Thanos' disappeared humans, Banner voluntarily stepped forward to wear the infinite gauntlet, then accompanied by his right hand being completely covered. The gamma energy instantly spread throughout the body and continues to devour his arm. Fortunately, Banner persevered with his strong will, then knelt down, barely snapped that fatal snap. After finishing, Tony immediately cooled Banner down and the defense gates of the base automatically opened, looking at the vibrant scene outside the window, plus Pepper's phone call next to him. Obviously, they succeeded. However, before everyone could react, Banner saw a huge warship, fired several missiles at them. Under this powerful fire suppression, the Avengers base was instantly turned into ruins. It turned out to be the lurking Nebula. He He sent Thanos' army to modern times through the quantum tunnel. At this time, the Avengers were all pressed under the rubble. Seeing the critical situation, Ant-Man hurriedly contacted Banner's location, while Hawkeye accidentally found the Infinity Gauntlet. To avoid pursuit, Hawkeye can be said to take advantage of everything. Finally collapsed on the clipboard. While on the other side, Tony and Captain America finally met up with Thor. Looking at the extremely calm Thanos in front, Thor didn't say anything and immediately turned into the God of Thunder. Then accompanied by a lightning ladder, he has Thor's hammer in his left hand and Stormbreaker in his right. Even the hair on his head was tied into a small ponytail. Even if the three giants of Marvel were fully armed, facing the innate powerhouse, Thanos didn't dare to act rashly either. But Thanos said his biggest mistake was being too merc.